Good afternoon. Today we're going to read another story from Careful Hans, and this one is called The Ugly Boy and the Bear. What do you think of a story that is titled the way this one is? The Ugly Boy and the Bear? Is that the first thing you would ever think about a person? That they were ugly or pretty? Is that how we normally look at people? I wonder. Well, let's see what the story says. Once there was a little Indian boy. Now, when they talk about Indian boys in these stories, they mean boys who are, or people who are Red Indians, who live in the United States of America. They are the original inhabitants of the United States of America, when they were called the Americas. And that's when they refer to Indians in stories like these, very often they don't mean us, they mean the Red Indians or the Native American Indians as they're called today. So once there was a little Indian boy. The Indian boy lived with his grandmother. The little boy's face was ugly. Wow! How direct is that? What makes a face ugly or pretty? What makes someone think that someone is ugly? I wonder, do you think it would mean that the face is marred in some way? Or maybe, I have no idea what you'd think of someone as being ugly. Do you think people are ugly? Do you think the way we look can be ugly? Or do you think the way we behave can be ugly? Something to think about. What makes a person ugly? The little boy's face was ugly. It was so ugly that the children did not like to play with him. Do you think he had some sort of deformity? Maybe something was missing on his face, or something was misshapen on his face? I wonder. They don't tell us. Let's find out what happens. "Go away, little boy," they said. "We do not like you. You are ugly." So Ugly Boy had no one to play with. But his grandmother loved him. Sometimes all we need is that one person who loves us and shows us that they love us, to make everything seem well, to make everything seem all right, isn't it? Who is the person who's like that for you? For me too, it was my grandmother when I was small. She made him cakes out of nuts and wild grass seeds. Every year, the Indians picked nuts and seeds and dried them. Then they put them away for the cold winter. The time came for the nuts to be ripe. The nut trees grew nearby, but no one dared to pick them. An old bear had made her den close by the trees. Ooh, that's scary. Bears are pretty scary creatures, you know. And she would not let the Indians pick the nuts. When the Indians went near the trees, the bear growled. Wow! Well, in the book they say woof woof, but I don't know if bears bark. Woof woof is what dogs do, and dogs bark. I wonder what a bear does. All the Indians were afraid of her. They did not know what to do. If they could not get nuts and seeds, what were they going to eat in the long winter? Why do you think food was difficult in the winter? What happens in winter to the ground? Not in our country, but in places where it snows. Stuff happens, right? Snow covers the ground. And why do you think that's a problem? Do you think the sun probably doesn't reach the seeds and so they can't grow? Well, study that, research it. All the Indians were afraid of her. if they couldn't get the seeds and nuts, what would they do in the long winter? One day, Ugly Boy came running into the house. He said, "Grandma, I'm hungry. I'm going out to pick some nuts, and I'm not afraid of the old bear." But his grandmother cried, "Oh, my boy, you must not. The wicked bear will catch you and she will eat you up." Do you think the bear is wicked if it catches a human being? I don't know if bears eat human beings, but they definitely do kill them. Do you think killing for the bear makes it wicked? Does it? Or is that just what bears do? But the little ugly boy was not afraid. He put a basket on his back. Then he went to the place where the nut trees grew. The nuts had fallen from the trees. There were so many that lay thick on the ground. Little ugly boy sat down and began to eat the nuts. He cracked the shells and ate the sweet nuts. Here, take a look. That's the picture. What do you notice about the boy? Look at his hair. He seems to have plaits. That means he's got long hair. He has some sort of bandana on his forehead. And he seems to not have a shirt on, just some sort of pants. And he's carrying the bag pretty much how you would carry your backpack. Now let's see what happens. There was a noise in the bushes. The wicked old bear had seen the ugly boy. "Wow! Wow!" she roared. "What are you doing with my seeds? What are you doing near my nut trees?" That's her picture. Look at that. Oh, she's like double his size. Little ugly boy did not move. He was not afraid. "I'm eating nuts," he said. "These nuts are mine," growled the bear. "You must not eat them." "They are not your nuts," said the little ugly boy. Wow, do you think that was brave? I think that was brave. But the old bear growled, "They are mine. If you do not run away, I will eat you. I'm bigger and braver than you are." Do you think the bear was actually braver than he was? Or do you think she was just bigger? Little ugly boy said, "The nuts and seeds are not yours. You may be bigger than I am, but you are not braver." "Yes, I am braver," roared the bear. The little ugly boy said, "I will tell you what we'll do. First, you may try to scare me. Then I will try to scare you. The one who is not afraid will have all the nuts and seeds." This made the bear laugh. "Ho, ho, 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 she roared. "Do you think you can scare me? Well, let's try." So the bear went away and hid. Little ugly boy sat on the ground eating nuts. Soon the bear gave a loud roar. She rushed out at the little ugly boy. "Wah! Wah!" she roared. "I'll eat you up! I'll eat you up!" But the little ugly boy only laughed. The bear saw that the ugly boy was not afraid. So she gave up. "You are a brave boy," she growled. "Now run away and see if you can scare me." Ugly boy ran to his grandmother. "Oh, grandmother," he cried. "The old bear tried to scare me, but I was not afraid. Now give me my bow and arrow. I will go and try to scare her." "Oh no, don't go," cried his grandmother. "What can you do to scare a great big wicked bear?" But the little ugly boy took up his bow and arrow, went out back, and climbed a tree. Then he called to the bear, "Come up here, old blackface. I won't scare you, or I will scare you." When the bear came up to the tree, she stood up on her hind legs. You know what the hind legs are? When animals have 4 legs, like dogs, the legs at the back, we call them hind legs. She stood up on her hind feet. She opened her great red mouth and laughed. She roared. The bear was so near that little ugly boy could almost touch her. Quick as a wink, he shot an arrow. It went straight right down the throat of the wicked old bear and killed her. The little ugly boy ran home. "Oh, grandmother," he cried, "all the Indians can gather the nuts now. I have killed the wicked old bear. I shot her with my bow and arrow." And that's the end of that story. So, what did it take? Those are the pictures. What did it take for him to be able to conquer the bear? Was it not the conquering of fear? He was only able to because he was not afraid. Isn't that a wonderful story? Well, thank you for listening and have a wonderful day. Bye.